that news, because I'd come over from England, dropped everything, sold my house, everything, and took a leap of faith to come over here. And it had been everything, kind of been my identity, I'd thrown everything into it and not thought about anything else but making it. So then you never really think it's going to come to an end, really. And then when it does, it's kind of a lot to take. It's kind of a lot to take on.
This is TMZ Inside the Ring.
Welcome to TMZ's Inside the Ring. I'm Branson Quirke. Roger Corral, he is out of the office right now, but we are so lucky to be joined by one of my personal favorites. I was just telling him before the interview how I was always looking forward to every week, back when he was on SmackDown, hearing Fight Night from Pat McAfee. That was iconic every single time, and I really missed it after they went away. Ridge Holland, you know him. Doesn't really need an introduction. The guy's had an amazing career, so many accolades. And welcome to Inside the Ring, Luke.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. It's Ridge Holland is no more. Unfortunately, it's Luke Menzies now. So I'm grateful to be here. Thank you for your time.
Of course. I got to ask you, man, right off the bat, how is the injury going? And I've seen a lot of the headlines right now and what you're going through, but it looks brutal. I saw that photo of your foot.
Yeah, so I had what's called a Liz Frank injury. So basically, it's like a dislocation of the midfoot. So the ligament that holds the midfoot together that got ruptured. So what they do, they go in and put 2 screws in there and bring the foot back together. And it's tedious. It's a tedious process because there's not a lot of blood flow that gets to that area. So, and it's weight bearing as well. So it's probably a 7-month recovery, and then if everything goes well, obviously 7 months. But there can be complications. So right now I'm in a boot. I've just started light weight bearing, and then my PT starts. I've been doing for a bit of the PT at the PC, but right now it's been outsourced to somewhere close to my home, so we can start rocking and rolling.
Got you. Yeah. So how does that go day by day for you? I can imagine, I've sprained my ankle. I've hurt my foot before, and just getting out of bed is very, very difficult. So how is it moving around each day right now?
It's okay now. I think I'm pushing it a bit more than what I should, or more than I'm allowed. Obviously, with 3 kids and a busy lifestyle and school runs to do and stuff, it's unfortunately you just can't help but not move, or you can't help but move.
Yeah.
But the initial acute phase post-op, I was laid up. I had a good 2-3 weeks where I was kind of pretty immobile. But we're getting there now. It's nice to be able to be a little bit more self-sufficient.
What was the immediate response when you went backstage after your match with Moose when this injury took place? Did you know immediately that it was going to be this serious, or was it something that you thought was just going to blow over in a day or so?
Well, I'm not kind of avert to getting injured, so I kind of know what it feels like. I know what's good and what's bad and what's kind of able to work through. And as soon as this happened, I kind of knew that there was something a little bit more sinister that was going on. And then I got to the back, and I couldn't put any weight on it, and it ballooned up. So I kind of knew straight away there that I've probably done something that's that's a little bit more serious. They were saying it's probably a strain, but I know my own body. I know, right. I've had tons of surgeries, tons of injuries before playing rugby and then in wrestling. So I kind of knew that maybe this one's going to be a bit of a longer term injury than what other people might have hoped.
Walk me through. So how much more time left on this injury did you have? And was there a point where you realized that you might not be able to go back into the ring for a long while?
Well, so I think the total injury, I've probably got maybe 6 months left, but I'm a quick healer, so I'll try my damnedest. Wrestlers are always well, we just want to get back as soon as we can, right? So I'm doing everything I can. But as soon as I found out that it was a Liz Frank and stuff, there was a couple of opinions that I got that said, maybe 8 to 10 weeks, and then it was actually it's more serious. You're going to be out for 6 months, 7 months. So I probably knew within a week of getting the injury that I was going to be out, for a substantial amount of time. Yeah.
And you may have, I saw this online, you may have a neck surgery as well, possibly next year as well, right?
Yeah, so I've been dealing with neck issues for a while. Obviously, it comes with the territory of playing, being a wrestler, and then obviously having an active career before
Sure.
that. But I exacerbated the neck injury uh, in the ring, and I was about to get imaging done before the foot injury happened, and obviously then with the foot needing surgery, that became the priority. So the neck went on the back burner. But with me being out now, I said, look, I'd love to get the images of my neck, and then they came back and like, yeah, your neck's kind of like moderate to bad. You're kind of a good candidate for a fusion. So I'm just trying
Mhm.
to get hooked up with a doctor here in Florida because I don't want to travel really with kind of. You obviously need a chaperone when you travel, so the less stress I can put my wife through with having to find childcare and stuff like that, and then go on a flight, the better. So if I can get the surgery done in Florida, the better.
Right, right. I mean, some of the best are out in Florida. That's what I've heard, especially for people in your
I
business,
hope
man.
so.
Right. So a lot's happened, obviously, in the last couple of weeks, and it's all happened so quickly. There's
Mhm.
headlines everywhere. You can't always believe what you see online. So that's why I was so happy to have you here. What point did you hear from WWE that they were going to terminate your contract?
I think it was like October 13th. I heard that they were not going to renew, and at that point, like, I just want to say for the record that like I'm never going to go out there and bash WWE. I love my time there. I had a great time, met some great people, and I'm grateful for my time there, the opportunities that they gave me. Obviously, when you hear something like that, it's disappointing, and I think what happens is you get caught up in the emotion of like, okay, I'd already kind of signed an NXT deal, and so we're dealing with that as well, which was substantial. And then hearing this, it was just, and then been injured, and then not knowing that I wouldn't be able to work, it was just a lot, and a lot like a compounding of emotional effects. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, so I had probably what like yeah 13th of October, so probably a month out of when
Mhm.
it was gonna end. Um, so it was kind of just like spend getting. It's funny thing. What had happened was I'd taken my family to. We got like a complimentary stay at one of the resorts in Orlando. So
Mhm.
taking the kids there. My mom flew over to help with the kids, and then we got there on the Friday, and that's when I got the call. So I was like, oh right, perfect timing, right? So that was on my mind the whole trip, the whole
Mhm.
weekend, and it's just kind of dealing with
Yeah.
that that news because I'd come over from England, dropped everything, sold my house, everything, and took a leap of faith to come over here, and it had been everything, kind of been my identity. I'd thrown everything into it and not thought about anything else but making it. So then you never really think it's going to come to an end, really, and then when it does, it's kind of a lot to take. It's kind of a lot to take on.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man. I mean, this is so soon too, and I'm sure that emotionally this is a tough thing. And there's been so much. Again, the dirt sheets. I'm sure you've heard that they put out so much, and obviously the angle that's being put out is that WWE did this because of some social media posts that you had made about your injury, dealing with that, how WWE was dealing with that. And again, I'm not here to have you bash WWE whatsoever. You said it, you loved your time in WWE. Just walk me through that. Is that really true? Is that why WWE did that, or was there more to that?
The latter, the most recent thing was definitely down to my, I think, outburst on Twitter. So I've got to take responsibility for that. Like I just needed to vent, and I didn't go about it the right way. And we all signed a contract. Unfortunately, that contract there was a termination clause, and I breached that. So that's a responsibility that I have to take. I let my emotions get the best of me, and I just felt that like I had some bad news that day regarding the situation, and yeah, I was embarrassed that I let my emotions get the better of me, and unfortunately, I got my wrist slapped for it, and WWE with the contract we signed, they're well in their rights to do that. So as much as people want to point the finger at WWE, you probably want to point the other three fingers at myself. Really, it was just a lapse in judgment, and it's something that I've got to take responsibility for, unfortunately.
We saw your there's a GoFundMe that was launched for you, and it's amazing so far. What I've seen Chelsea Green contribute. I've seen Omos contributed, Jinder Mahal, formerly known as Jinder Mahal, Raj Desi as well. So there's a lot of outpouring of love for you right now, and everybody. I mean, every time I go on the GoFundMe, there seems to be more and more donations. What does that mean to you, seeing all of this?
It's so the GoFundMe was set up without my knowledge.
Mm.
It's not something that I would have done off my own back. I'm quite a private person, and I believe that anything that happens to me, it's my cross to bear. But I never expected it to, people to donate as they have, and I never realized people care that much, to be honest. So it's quite humbling that people are willing to put their hard-earned money, and kind of help me out in that respect, and help the family out in that respect, because that's the positive. But then the negative side is people are saying, "Oh, well, you're a WWE superstar. Why financial? What about how you manage your money and stuff?" I'm like, people think that just because you work for WWE, you're a millionaire, and it's not the case.
Yeah.
We have bills, with other things to pay for. Things happen. You have 3 children. You got to pay for their births.
Right.
We had twins unexpectedly. We still, there's medical bills that still need paying. There's all sorts of things that people just don't know. So it's easy for someone to say, well, you should be this. It's like, yeah, if I thought that, I can say I should be worth multi-millions. Unfortunately, I'm not.
Right.
It's just the way it is. We're not Hollywood movie stars. We don't get compensated that way.
And you're independent contractor, so everything's a 1099, and you're quite literally paying for everything else out of pocket, travel, medical expenses. I mean, it's crazy. People assume that everyone's just a millionaire because they're on TV, right? And we saw it too with Jasmine Nix recently. She left NXT because of her being unhappy with the payment that they were giving, and saying the exact same thing. Things are expensive, and it's just not the right move for her. I do want to ask, there has been talk about it. I'm sure you've heard about this. A lot of people have been talking about how wrestlers should be unionized. Are you very much for that happening?
You know what? I think it's at the minute it's going to take a big seismic effort to get that, because it's a tale as old as time, right? Like it needs the big hitters to come on board, and unfortunately, it might take them to sacrifice something that they're getting. So I don't think that'll ever happen. I just don't think it will, because wrestling's cutthroat, right? It's kill or be killed, and I just don't think that it fits the kind of the business mold, or the business model, from an individual standpoint and from a business standpoint for the company. So would it be nice? Yeah. Do I think it'll happen? Nah.
Probably not. It does not benefit WWE whatsoever, really. And I mean, we've seen, TKO and all of that, and prices are going up everywhere, and they, I can't see it happening either, honestly. I got to ask you, has anybody from WWE that you're close with reached out to you after this, other than, we've seen Chelsea donate and everything, but is there anybody specific that you are very close with?
Yeah, I keep my circle, pretty small. That's just how I am as a human being. I don't really, I'm social, but I don't really have a big circle of friends. I've got plenty of acquaintances, but as far as friends, and all the guys that I was close to, even the guys that got released prior to me, like the likes of Gallus, and even like Pete, and even Solo, guys like that who I've worked with, they've all been in touch and stuff. And then the coaching staff have been great. And but I understand if people haven't kind of reached out as well, because it's a precarious position, especially with all the media stuff that's going on. I can understand them being a bit standoffish. And I'd hate to put someone in a position that might hinder them. Do you know what I mean? Just for kind of being close to me. So not that there's I would think that anything would happen, but how things get construed in the media, I just wouldn't like anyone to kind of get any reciprocal, heat, as it were, by, pledging allegiance to me.
Yeah. I gotta ask, after or before you knew that this was all going to happen, was there a goal you had in mind once you were healed up? Was there some opponent that you really wanted to go against in NXT? Was there a massive goal in your mind before you knew all this was going to happen?
So when I originally like pitched for me to go back down to NXT, 'cause it was my idea. People think that I got sent down there. I went initially. I went up to the main roster. I didn't really have an established character. I didn't really, there was no reference point for the creative to book me. So I got put with Sheamus, which is a great rub, but it only goes so far when Sheamus is the top guy and me and Peter kind of, the facilitators. And obviously with the Big E thing that happened, there was a lot of negative connotations there. So I decided it would be best if I took myself out of that situation and went on a kind of like a rebuild. So down in NXT, I managed to work with Ilya, which was great. And I kind of wanted to have a run with the NXT or North American Championship. I thought that would be a great kind of like shot in the arm for me and a way to kind of propel myself back up to the main roster. That was always the goal, to go back up to the main roster. So it was a matter of just working with everyone, having good matches, and proving that I could do certain things, and everything in NXT that they asked me to do, I did to the best of my ability. And as far as I'm concerned, they were happy until they weren't. I understand that I've had a lot of injuries and my age plays a part in it. I understand business. But as far as goals, it was just to get back on the main roster, and just get rolling again. But unfortunately, that didn't come to fruition.
Sure, sure. Hey, by the way, I gotta say you have an amazing theme song, and once I saw it was on Spotify, I pump it every day in the car. It's one of my songs I put on my long 2-hour drive to TMZ. Love it, by the way, one of the best. What was it like working with Sheamus back then on the main roster?
It was great. I think we had a great opportunity to create something special, and I thought we were kind of getting there. And I think even then, when the incident with the happened, I think that scuppered a lot of things for us. And I kind of took that on my own shoulders, really. But Sheamus was great. Like he's passionate. He still wants to. Every time he wants to go out there, he still wants to swing as hard as he can and have bangers, which is what he does. He says banger after banger, and that's his goal every time he
I
goes
heard
out
he
there.
hits he hits the hardest though. Is that true? He's the most. What's the word? He's the most aggressive, but he's safe. But he's very aggressive, right?
I mean, he lays his stuff in, and that's all. What I like to do as well. If it's part of it being physical. Some people like it, some people don't. And the all art of the business, I guess, which is you can say is to make it look real. So we're not hurting someone too bad, right? So
Right.
he's in there, right? He's in there, but you can't fault him because he's full of emotion and full of passion.
Yeah, no, I think he makes it look the most convincing over anybody. He's so great. And he seems like a really genuine, nice person as well. And I'm sure you can attest to that too. What was your biggest creative frustrations when you were on the main roster in that faction with the Brawling Brutes?
Oof. I think we became kind of like we never really got going. It was always stop start. We had like a title shot and then we'd get pushed back, and then we got in that thing with the bloodline when they were trying to build Solo up. So we did we helped make Solo a monster, and I love Solo as super guy, and that's not a complaint at all. That was our job, and I just never felt like the focus was on us, making us as a team. It was like us making other people, which is part of the business, right? Like it is what it is. Either you're the guy on top, or you're the guy kind of like making the guy, or helping that guy get somewhere, or a group get somewhere, or a storyline get somewhere. So yeah, I just wish we would have had a bit more focus on us, and maybe a little bit of a run with the tag belts and stuff. But that's what everyone says, But I just think that it was just a stop-start nature of it. It was like we'd be off TV for weeks, and then we'd come back, we'd have a 5-minute match, and then we'd be off again. And I just wish that we'd have got some continuity with the creative. But I also think that my stuff might have played a part in that. There might have been a trust issue there with the might not thought I was, trustworthy enough after the E stuff. They might have thought my confidence was down, which it was, and maybe that showed through performances. So maybe they just didn't give me the ball because they knew that I wouldn't be able to carry it because my mind wasn't in it. So
Did you have any type of relationship with Triple H? Did you guys speak a lot?
I, I had a really good relationship with Triple H from when I first started in NXT. I heard there was big plans. It was always pretty high on me. But I think the main thing was that, like, from a company standpoint, like, it's how many times can we give this guy an opportunity without him getting hurt? Something happened. I'd get hurt. I'd come back. Something else had happened, and and then it's just one of those things. Yeah, but I had a good relationship with him. I would talk to him and stuff, and then as you as things change and the landscape changes, and you think that distance becomes greater when someone's position gets higher, or even like when it gets more corporate.
Yeah,
Sometimes the guys have to distance themselves from talent. It's just how it is,
sure. I got to ask you one question. You don't have to answer this, but now that you're out of WWE and you can speak more freely, there's been a lot of talk, and I ask all of our guests this: the ticket prices, man, they're really, really expensive. WrestleMania next year, I looked at second row, and it's like 38 grand for both nights. I mean, it's very, very expensive. What's your thoughts on the rising ticket prices? Do you think that they're pricing out families, or do you just think it's something that all companies are doing and that it's necessary?
I think, money talks, BS walks, right? And I think that's the ethos.
Yeah.
The goal of the goal of any business is to make profit, and that is the be all and end all. And yes, so some people will lose out due to financial constraints, but unfortunately, they're the prices. No one else can do anything about it. So some people are going to have to miss out. It's sad because obviously it's a family sport, and families are what kind of driven the business for a while. But I don't know what'll happen in the future, whether they'll come down or whether they'll keep rising. But
Yeah.
there's obviously a market for it, right? And people are paying that money. So why wouldn't they, as a company, charge those prices if people are willing to pay it, right?
Yeah. So you told me that possibly by April, May of next year, you will be hopefully all healed up, ready to possibly get back into the ring. Is that the goal once you're healed up, or are you hesitant from even stepping back into the ring and looking more at signings, appearances?
Yeah, so I think right now I'm looking more at signings, appearances. I am looking at kind of getting into online coaching. I'm studying. I'm kind of taking myself back to school in an online sense. I'm starting a YouTube channel. Just
Awesome.
anything that I can do that can help the situation. Really, I'm just trying to delve into things that I wasn't able to do previously. But signings up until I'm cleared, and I think I'll make a decision. It'll be really late in the day whether I make a decision. It also depends whether I get my neck fixed, because when you're dealing with your neck and stuff, although people come back from it and stuff, I always think, well, how do I want to feel when I'm 60?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's one of those where I'll cross that bridge when I come to it, really.
Yeah. I really don't want to spend too much on this question. I know you brought up Big E earlier. And I think this is something that fans have moved past. Everyone's moved past this, and forgiveness is all over. Big E has forgiven and everything. Everything's all good. Are you still dealing with some of that right now? Some of that backlash still?
Yeah, never. Even with the stuff now with getting released and getting the contract run out and then getting terminated and whatnot, and everything. I think that was one of the big things. That it's constant, and I think my career, unless something substantial happens, I think that regardless of what I've done, I'll always be the guy that ended Big E's career, and that's something I'll just have to live with. And I've said I just put like the first YouTube video, recorded the first YouTube video, and I said in that, I said, if I had a time machine right here, right now, the first thing that I would do is go back and change
Yeah.
that. Because there's not a day goes by where I don't think about it, and there's not a day goes by where I don't get reminded about it. And I'm sure that's the same for me. There's not a day goes by where he doesn't yearn to be back in the ring. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's got closure now. But from the moment it happened right up until today, I still get hate for it and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, it's it started off a lot of the time with like death threats and stuff, and
Wow.
things like that, and which is unnerving really. And then just I think that kind of it kind of was always a sticking point in me connecting with the fans because Big E was so loved, and they took it personally,
Yeah.
you know. And so it was always a sticking point for me. I would never get past. It was always there, and it was always a stigma. So maybe stepping away for a bit is good. And I got this kind of reputation of being like not being able to wrestle, and just because my style wasn't, because of the Big E thing, and because my style wasn't, 1,000 high spots in a match.
Yeah.
I always like to kind of, you know, be more just to grind on people and slow things down a little bit. And just because of that style, I think people put the Big E thing, the fact that my style was a little bit different, and a little slower, that I got the conversation that I couldn't wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think that going away for a little bit will probably do me good.
Yeah, I mean, like, how has that been being at home? Has it really helped mental health and everything? Helped you relax? Finally, not on the road 24/7.
Well, I mean, in NXT, I was home. I was home a lot anyway.
That's true.
So we just do, Tuesdays NXT, and then if we had a road show, or we'd do a coconut show around Florida. So I probably max I'm working probably 3 days a week, and they're very spread out. So I'm at home and I'm in Florida. I'm sleeping in my own bed. But as far as the mental stuff, not really, because there's all. I kind of knew the writing was on the wall when I got taken off TV and put on Evolve. Like I'm not silly. I can read the room. So there's a stress that comes with that. There's a stress that comes with the financial stuff. There's a stress about the kids. There's a stress about what's going to happen with, like, who am I if I don't have wrestling? Like, there's always something that's there mentally. Then there's the online stuff. There's the people's opinions. It never ends. So for the mental side, no, not really. It's kind of rough. But it was nice to be spend time, always be at home to kind of like put my kids to bed and then wake up and take them to school in the morning. That's been great. And that's been kind of like the shining light through it all, really.
And that's the most important thing. I always say, family, that's the most important thing regardless. And hey, you're still young. And like, I'm telling you, man, we've seen so many people come back and do so many amazing things. So it's really a never say never situation. Would you ever step foot in, maybe GCW, AEW, possibly in the future? Anything like that?
I mean, I love wrestling. Like, that's the one thing that I wanted to do since I was a kid. I love wrestling. So whether they want me there, if they think I can add value, if they think I can add value, which I think I can, I think that I've not scratched the surface in what I'm capable of. Totally. Even though I was at WWE for 8 years, I feel like I've not scratched the surface. So if I could add value to someone's promotion, then yeah. And if I can help as well, that's the main thing. I want to give back. It's not all about me. I'm a big proponent of, giving back as well. So if I can do that, there's a good chance.
Awesome. All right, last question for you. If there's got to be one opponent that you want to face that's been in your mind, eventually when you do come back, if you could face this person, whether it's WWE, AEW, anybody in your head?
There's a few, so I'm really close. Like, I'd love to wrestle Roddy Strong.
Okay.
He's a friend of mine, but yeah, I'd love to get in there with him. Man, there's tons of people. Like, obviously there's the Bryans, there's the Ospreys, there's people like that. I would love to have a stint in Japan, to be honest. Like, that style, I think it'd be great. I'd love to maybe do a couple of tours of Japan if the opportunity came about. I just love that. But as far as like individuals, man, I just want to wrestle anyone. Just let me get in there.
Would you do a hardcore match, like a Darby Allin match or John Moxley? I gotta ask.
I don't know. That might be pushing it. I mean, you can never say never, right? But it's like, if the story's right and the payoff is right, I'm not going to do it just a throwaway. You know what I mean? There has to be a meaning behind it. But yeah, I mean, nothing too garish. I mean, I saw what Matt Cardona did in GCW.
He's great, by the way. Matt Cardona, man, talk about like someone that took a situation and ran with it, man. And he's doing so great.
He's the blueprint, really, for guys that have been let go and how to survive on the indies, not survive but flourish.
Yeah,
he's the blueprint. And then I think Karrion Kross is going to do good things. He's very good at marketing himself. He's a very eloquent individual. So I think he'll do well. But yeah, man, there's life out there, and hopefully there's still a few pulses left when I get cleared. But we'll see.
Awesome, man. I got to say, too, you guys, please go to the description down below. I put the GoFundMe link in there. Please help out Luke. I know he's a very private person. He said it in the interview. He doesn't like to talk about this stuff too much. But I really appreciate you coming on and being open with me, being an open book. And we're all rooting for you. Please know that. WWE fans are right behind you. I know there's a lot of really cynical ones out there, but I always say those are the ones that the fans don't like. We don't care about those people. Please know that.
I appreciate it. And if I can just plug my YouTube channel, Luke Menzies PW, yeah, I'd really appreciate a like and subscribe on that, guys. That'd really help. And I'm just going to be documenting my road to recovery. So jump on the train. Let's see where it goes.
Please go on a Maven video. I don't know if you've seen Maven online, but please go on a Maven video.
He's great. He's doing some good stuff. He's Maven.
He's great.
I'd love to connect.
Thank you, Luke. Have a good one.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.